Hello, I am Bookface, and I am willing to commit violence
for some strawberries.
And Pangea will not commit violence because he's going through anger management. Get wrecked, Ken, dolt.
The body of Bookface was found with deep gashes in his skull. Forensics indicate these wounds were inflicted by some sort of pangolin. While a suspect has been identified, he has not been charged due to Bookface likely having it coming.
Got him. We're back talking about another cryptid that I may have talked about before in a video that only got 4 views. So, no harm repeating it. Especially now that I can take my time with it and also be a zoology nerd. With that out of the way, let's jump right in. Woo! Today, we're talking about an obscure cryptid called the Murung River Bear. This brutish bear-like beast comes from literally a single account, which isn't the most promising thing in terms of cryptid sightings. The only description of this animal comes from an explorer in the 1930s named Leonard Clark, who was told about it by natives. Yes, Pangea, that does mean that the only account we have is from a person who didn't actually see this thing or investigate. Because content, that's why. This creature is said to be sighted around the Kedang Murung River in East Borneo, Indonesia. Also, as a weird bit of information, the only thing I could find when looking up the Murung River itself is this cryptid, and vague references from information about other rivers. This thing is so obscure that the river is a cryptid. They're described as being similar to a bear, hence the name, and having sharp claws, and, well, that's actually about all we've got for physical description. Very specific, I know. Looks like a bear and has claws. Have you considered it could be a bear? They live in the jungle, but they gather near the river every year by the thousands to eat berries that grow there annually. So I looked up that phenomena where a bunch of grizzlies gather to, eat salmon as they go upstream, and I couldn't find a specific number, but in my personal opinion, I feel the idea that there are thousands of these things in one place might be a bit of an excessive estimate. Could be wrong though, who knows. These creatures are strong swimmers and have been known to attack boats and claw humans to death.
Bear, please stop! Claw in my flesh!
And that's pretty much all the information we have on this cryptid. This is a YouTube short in the making. So everything going forward is speculation and zoological nerdiness. So the first animal that we're looking into as a comparison is the bear species that actually lives in this area. Coming from tropical rainforests in Southeast Asia is the sun bear. This creature is known for being the only animal in the genus Halarctos and also looking like a person in a costume. That thing is derpy and terrifying at the same time. It is also the smallest species of bear and has a characteristic cream-colored mark on its chest, which gives it its name. They're omnivorous creatures that eat mainly bugs and plants, and also use their extra-long tongues to scoop honey out of beehives. Pangea, do you need a minute? Moving on from whatever that was. These feeding habits would explain them or a similar species gathering en masse to feed on some specific type of berries. So that's a point in our favor. They're adapted to live in trees and climb far more than most bear species, but they are still decent swimmers, which fits pretty well to the Murung River bear living in forests and going to the river once a year. They're also known to be very intelligent and capable of imitating human facial expressions. Wow, that's incredible. Working against our comparisons, however, is the fact that sun bears are typically a solitary species and rarely attack anyone unless they're provoked or their cubs are threatened. Now, maybe if we assume that the berry growing happens near the mating season, that could explain it. But since we don't know anything about what kind of berries that we're talking about, if I were a botanist, I'd try to figure it out, but I know very little about plants. I just looked up Indonesian berries and got a lot of weird results. Found this thing, which I think looks really cool. That doesn't help our argument any. I just like the look of it. The obscurity of this cryptid could also work since, unfortunately, deforestation has caused the population of sun bears, to go down by 35% since the 90s. Because humans suck. The next animal on my list is a comparison I like, even though there is nothing to suggest it other than some random person online saying it on like a wiki or something. But I think it's fun, so I ran with it. This comparison is to the binturong, and is the primary inspiration for my drawing purely off of vibes. These adorable little derpy things are also called bear cats and belong to the Viveridae family of cat-like mammals, which include civets, genets, and oyans. I've heard of civets, I have not heard of the other two, so another point in obscurity. Oddly enough, these things are also the only creature with their specific genus, with it this time being Arctictis. They can be found throughout South and Southeast Asia and typically live in trees, known for having very round faces, short, stout bodies, and a long prehensile tail nearly as long as the rest of their body. body. Now, despite living in trees, these guys are so awkwardly built that they have to crawl to the ground to switch trees, since jumping is a no-go. These guys got 0 hops. They move around day and night and are extra mobile during the rainy seasons, which does kind of help out with the idea of comparing it to a semi-aquatic cryptid, although the binturongs are very much not aquatic. I don't know if these things just sink like a rock or they just don't do well in water, but yeah, not aquatic, which is definitely a point against us. They most commonly eat plants, which fits our berry-loving beasties, but they mostly eat plants because they have so little in the way of predatory adaptations. So yeah, the idea that they would attack and kill humans is a little bit sus. Also, it would have to be like significantly larger. Because I'm terrible at preparing, I did not actually get the size comparison in my script, so I'm just gonna leave that to editing book face. See how much bigger a Morung River bear would be? See the math that I have so expertly done? Yeah. Conclusion, this isn't really a good match at all, but it's certainly interesting, and that's good enough for me. Also, unfortunately, these guys are also endangered due to deforestation, with their population dropping 30% since the 80s. Humans suck! So, now we've gone through a couple options for what the Morung River bear could be, and throughout it, I think we've found an answer. It was never actually a bear. It was just some drunk guy seeing a Bigfoot and saying, "Oh, I saw a bear." That or this thing really is just a guy in a bear costume. And there we discuss yet another cryptid. As simple as this guy was, I love how weird it is, and it's one that sticks in my brain, even with how little there is to it. If you want to support me and my future video making endeavors, you can join my Patreon for $1 a month, where you get some behind the scenes stuff and also stupid little video add-ons I make, like this thing. Look how dumb that was. Boy, my outros have become the weakest part of my videos, which honestly is fine since most people don't watch them anyways. Anyway, see you next time. Bye.